Welcome to a very special edition of the CJ and Joy podcast. If you're new to the show, we host on WayFM. It's all about faith, family, and fun. Once a week, we break down something specific. And today, we're here to talk about
the baby I'm having.
Having a baby. Oh, yeah, baby.
It's inspired a song already. I've been hiding my pregnancy. I don't know. We're doing this on video too. I barely have a belly, but I've been trying to hide it with the clothes I wear and with avoiding the subject for months. And I can't believe we finally get to talk about it.
Yes. So we're here to unpack a variety of different things, not the least of which is the fact that you waited about 5 months before you told the audience. And by the way, if you feel slighted, if you've been listening to Joy and WayFM for 8 years, just so you know, she just told everybody else at WayFM last week.
I literally hid this from most people for 5 months. In fact, we were getting ready to announce it on our show, and I started panicking because I was like, oh, there's people in my life I still haven't told.
So here, I'm going to interview you now.
Okay.
I'm going to make this easy.
Because CJ has been in the loop the whole time.
I've known the whole time, okay? I've kept it a secret. I've told no one.
Yeah, you've been successful at that.
Except my wife. Well, you told her at the same time you told me.
Yeah.
Why have you waited so long?
Okay, I waited so long because, I'll say for two reasons.
Here, I'll say that you were worried about all of this. Is what you do. You worry. Yeah. You're worried that people would feel like, hey, why didn't you tell me here at the office? And maybe people that have listened to you on WayFM for years are like, why didn't you just tell us as soon as you found out? So just, why?
Twofold. The first is because this baby is a surprise. And my husband and I have been married just over 2 years. We obviously are really excited that we're going to have a child, but when it's a surprise and it wasn't a part of a plan, I think you have to come to terms with the fact that you're having a kid before you can tell anybody else. And there were days when I was super freaked out. I still have those days, CJ knows. And there are days when I'm really excited. And when you tell people you want to be overjoyed and excited, and I was like, I have to really get used to this idea myself for a while, right? Yeah. That I'm going to be a mom and I'm going to have a baby. That way I can genuinely be like, I know, this is so exciting.
So what you're saying is, and I know this to be true, but we're just going to cover our bases here, is because it was a surprise, it took you a hot minute to wrap your brain around it yourself. As a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong here, the circumstances in which you found out, you had to literally keep it to yourself for a couple of days because your husband was out of town. That's not the kind of news you do over the phone.
No, so that's why as well we had to keep it a secret because it happened with really weird circumstances. So here's the story. I'll make it brief, but my husband and I last year started having conversations about am I going to be able to have kids? I was having some health problems that hinted that I might not be able to have children. And so we started conversations last summer actually about adoption. My husband was like, well, I've always wanted to adopt and I've kind of felt that too. So we're like, maybe we should start the process because it takes 2 to 3 years and we'd be ready by then. And so we started talking about it, but God had something else planned and in store. And so I end up getting pregnant, but I don't know I'm pregnant. And I'm having health issues like I did all of last year. And so, CJ, you remember this. There was a narrative on the show where I was getting ready to have kind of a minor surgery. I had to have a colonoscopy. And I was super freaked out about it, super scared because they were like, we just got to make sure you don't have cancer or anything like that, which is so scary.
Not to, if you're thinking to yourself, and is it okay to laugh at that? Like that she had a colonoscopy? Yeah, it's okay. It's funny.
And it's fine.
It's funny. That's old news now.
Yeah, obviously I'm fine.
But that's not ideal for anyone. Wasn't ideal for you.
No.
But little did you know, you were getting a nice spring cleaning because you needed to make room for...
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not ideal for baby either. And so if you've ever had a medical procedure where you have to go under anesthesia, they give you a pregnancy test. It's just basic procedure. And so I had a pregnancy test, came back negative, went under anesthesia, had the procedure. I didn't think I was pregnant, no idea. And then a couple of days later, I continued to get sick. In fact, on a Friday, we were here in the studio, CJ. Do you remember this? And I was like, something's just not right. And I said, my husband's out of town, but I feel so sick and weird. I'm going to go to urgent care. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I was like, I'm going to go to urgent care tomorrow. And you were like, okay, do what you need to do. But before I went to urgent care, I took a pregnancy test just because a couple of the doctors I called were like, do that first and we'll see you. And it was positive.
That's right. So the home pregnancy test was more accurate than the one they gave you at the hospital for the colonoscopy.
Which doesn't really make sense. I was so shocked. I thought it was wrong. Took another one. That one was positive too. And my husband's like not even reachable by cell phone. He was climbing a mountain. And I was like, what do I do? I'm so freaked out.
Right. That was that weekend.
Yeah, I saw
remember
CJ's wife that weekend, and I just kept it to myself. I thought I can't tell anybody till I tell my husband. He gets home, I unpack it, and so we're shocked out of our minds. And then when we go to the doctor, through several circumstances, we come to find out that I was very pregnant when I had that colonoscopy. And here's the hard reality that I've lived with. CJ's walked it with me, is that when babies come into contact with anesthesia, they either miscarry or they fight through it. And so we had to kind of live with that. The doctors were like, we'll just have to wait and see, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
So I knew I was high risk for a miscarriage, and I couldn't bear telling you the exciting news, telling my friends and family the exciting news if we were to potentially lose the baby. So I just stayed quiet. And if I'm honest with you, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, because CJ knows I was really sick and I really needed my friends and family, and nobody knew.
Yeah, you don't want to say something like that for fear that it would A, subdue the happiness that your family's going to feel. B, that you would have to go back and tell them the bad news if something were to happen. Yeah, if you've ever been pregnant and if you've ever, miscarried, or if you're watching this, you know that. Yeah, you know what that's like. So
awful.
But the baby's doing great.
Yeah.
This is how intuitive I am. I had no idea, even with all the stuff you had going. When you told me, I was like, see.
So 2 weeks after I found out, I would have done it the week after, but I just wanted to tell CJ with his wife. And do you remember, I just was not myself those weeks at work.
Yeah.
I kept putting my head down on the desk because I got morning sickness at night, which was it started during our show every day. And I would just slowly
I thought
put
it was
my head
me.
on the couch.
I thought I made you sick.
CJ was like, you need to eat some goji berries, girl. He was like, he's so good with health tips. He was giving me health tips. And so we planned a night out with my husband and me and CJ and his wife. And I had a little card that said, we're pregnant. And I slipped it to him over the dinner. And your wife's the one who opened it, right?
Yeah.
I will never forget your face.
She screamed. She throws the card. And then I just was stunned. I was just stunned. I don't know if that's a dude thing. I just did not. I'm with you for such a focused amount of time every day. I never even for once thought that you would be pregnant.
Well, I neither did I.
Yeah. And then, okay. So here's the next question.
Oh, okay.
Here's the next question. And I want you to answer immediately. You can't think. You got to just answer.
Okay.
How comfortable are you handling poop?
Not at all.
Okay, well, you better get over that.
My husband has changed one diaper ever in his life, and it was only a wet.
I'm going to give you my tip to changing diapers.
No.
This is it.
I forgot about diapers. If I'm
better
honest
remember.
with you, I haven't thought about it at all.
Wait till they get on solids. It's like a DEFCON 5 in your pants. Okay?
I'm not ready for this.
This is the key to changing a good diaper, and then we're going to go back to some of the other stuff. Is you have to concede to getting some of it on you.
No.
You do.
Why would you say that?
Because
That is
if you're a parent out there,
disgusting.
you know that it's a natural inkling that you don't want to.
Yeah.
You want to change an
going
efficient. You just concede that you're going to wash your hands, and that's what's going to happen. All right? Say that with me. I will handle poo-poo. I will handle.
My husband will
what?
handle
No,
poop.
you need to get in there. It's like changing the
Oh my
oil.
goodness, you're freaking me out.
For the poop?
See, I'm freaked out about all of it. Here's the thing. I was always terrified of the possibility of getting pregnant because then I knew I'd have to have the baby. I'm so scared of labor and all those things. Now that I'm 5 months, it's really coming. And so I'm really leaning into my mom the women in my life. CJ's wife has been a baller.
Yeah.
Just been calling her and being like, what do you think about this? How do I prepare for this? We haven't made a baby registry because I don't know what babies need. I have no
You're
idea.
due this summer.
Yeah, I'm due June 2nd. And so we're just like preparing as best that we can. But it was really fun to tell family when we finally did. That's probably been one of the sweetest parts of this.
Yeah, because Joy has 3 brothers, and none of them have kids yet.
Yeah, none of them are even married.
And your parents are just like, high ambitions to be grandparents.
Yeah, well, at my wedding, my dad went around the reception and tried to get people to board the Grandparent Express, and it was a pretend train that he was driving, and he would make people go, choo-choo, Grandparents Express. And I was like, I literally just said I do an hour ago. So he's been crazy since I got married. So he's been waiting like almost 2.5 years. And when I told them, my dad's first reaction was to raise his hands and say, thank you, Jesus. Like he's been on his knees every night about it.
Probably has.
Yeah. So parents are super pumped, and we're just excited to go on this journey. And I'm excited to be able to like tell you and let you in on it. And I mean, it's a huge change in life. Like marriage, it's going to happen because you say yes, you accept the ring, you plan the wedding. But sometimes babies are a surprise.
How you feeling? Like as we record this today, in this moment, like how you feeling? You freaked out? You're excited? You're a little bit of everything. Like you got a big concern that comes to mind? Just the actual day-to-day life change?
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns that come to mind.
You got any
CJ
questions
knows.
for me? Questions for someone who's watching this, who's a parent? Like, what's the biggest, I wonder what that looks like on the other side. She's due this summer, by the way.
Yeah, so I actually feel a lot of relief. I was really nervous to record the podcast because it's been a secret for so long. I was like, what is it going to feel like to say it out loud? And I think since I have wrestled with it so much, it makes it more real when I say it out loud. I'm going to be a mom. Like saying that is crazy and scary. But I think the question that I have for you, CJ, and even for you watching, if you're a parent, I'd love for you to comment, is I am a worrier. And so I also am a 6 on the Enneagram, if you know about that. So I'm anticipating all the things that could go wrong and how to prepare for those. And a lot of parents are like, your life is over. You'll never go to the bathroom alone. Like you hear a lot of those stories. But my question is, what is like the sweetest, most rewarding part of being a parent? Because I can't picture that. You know what I mean? But I can picture little hands under the door when I try to go to the bathroom making me crazy. But what's the sweetness about it? Because I want to picture that when I get really freaked out.
I don't want to answer for.
Just answer for you.
For everyone.
Yeah.
I would say, you'll see, I would say for you, and from my perspective, in the beginning, there's just this really strong bond, boy or girl, and she's going to wait to find out at a gender reveal, but there's this really sweet, deep bond in the beginning between the mom and the baby. And the reason, obviously because they're connected. Mm-hmm. And it takes a minute for dad to get in there, and it's just as rewarding when dad gets a chance to get in there. But obviously,
how long do you think that takes? Like how long did it take for you? Like 6 months, a year?
Maybe sometime between 6 months and a year.
When they get more expressive or something?
Yeah, in the beginning it's just like a sack of potatoes, Like they can't do much, easy. They can't do anything, and they just need mom they just need you for everything. And they need you for food, and then they know to come to you for food, and then they need you for comfort, and
mm-hmm.
The only song that baby's heard the last however many months is the rhythm of your heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's crazy to think about.
So it needs that, and so that's going to be really sweet for you. There's just such a deep bond, and then dad will get in there later, but lifestyle wise. It's I'll tell you this. Hold on, I wrote something down for when we were getting in this today.
I do remember a catchphrase.
Make sure I don't mess it up.
A catchphrase you've said since I've known you is "kids are magic," but I don't really know what that means.
Well, I
just know it's sweet.
When the baby's born, like no parent in the history of kids has ever been like ready. Like when they're like, I think we're ready. You're not. Or they're
that makes
like,
me feel better,
I'm not ready.
I know I'm not.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the club. Nobody ever is.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, when you have a baby, when you have the first baby, it's almost like when you look at the kid, it's almost like it kind of comes with, the baby kind of comes with an instruction manual. It's like inherently, like you just have this survivalist instinct, this parental thing, this love. I don't know. You just do whatever it takes when the baby gets there. And, the baby complicates everything. And I think the thing I would tell you, because you're just like my wife, her personalities are very similar. They're both 6 Enneagrams. They both worry a lot. Is that life as a whole is complicated, right? Your job will complicate your social life, and having a baby will complicate your home life, and sometimes your faith will complicate what you want to do. And the thing is, man, you just lean into those complications. They're just so great and beautiful, and you're going to mess up, and it's going to be great. And it's just all such a fun, it's like the greatest ride of your life. The greatest ride. And it's all so, like, just great. And it's all so imperfect. I know you hate that. It's all so unpredictable and imperfect just when you think you got a handle on it. I'm talking about a nuclear explosion at 2 o'clock in the morning in their pants, and you just get up and you clean them up. And somehow when stuff like that happens, it's beautiful too. Yeah. It's all just so great, but it's all so unpredictable. But don't try to do the thing where you know all the answers and all that stuff. Just go ahead and embrace the inevitable, unpredictable nature of all of it, because that's part of what I think makes it so awesome.
That's so good.
And your downs are going to be nothing compared to the ups.
Really? That's so what I needed to hear.
The downs hurt, but then the ups, they're like obliterated. Like just like a little smile or just to watch them sleep will make you erase any bad memory from the day.
That's so good, because I can like kind of picture what the downs are, because people will go, sometimes they cry all night, this and that, but no one can really easily encapsulate like what those smiles are like and stuff like that.
It's a team effort. Hindsight's 20/20. I would say this to anybody who's watching this who maybe has a baby or is going to have a baby. It's hard. The advice to the dad is like, the baby needs mom for so much. You just can't help it. That it's almost like mom takes care of baby and dad needs to take care of mom almost. And I didn't actually know that in the beginning, and then I kind of got better at it as we went. And then we had our second kid.
Can you tell my husband that?
Yeah, well, if he's watching this, there you go. You got to take care of her, because the fact of the matter is this, for the dads out there: in the beginning, the baby doesn't need you for anything, for the men. It doesn't. You serve a purpose for sure, and believe me, there's going to be so much as the months go by. But in the beginning, the baby needs mom for everything.
To just function.
Everything. Yeah. But, this is just my experience. To each his own. It's just going to be so beautifully messed up.
Thank you
It's
for
such a
saying
beautiful,
that.
hot mess.
And if I could get deep for a second, I think as you're saying that, what's happening in my brain is that CJ knows this, and I'll share with you, I'm a perfectionist. It's something that I've been really working on. It's something I've been seeing a counselor about. I just don't like that part of myself. And I think this is God's giving me an opportunity to like break my perfectionism, because I don't think you can easily, maybe not at all, apply perfectionism to a kid. Like you're saying, it's so imperfect. And that's the sweetness. And I'm going to miss the sweetness if I try to like be a perfectionist mom. And so maybe this is an opportunity for me to try to break out of that, because I have to embrace the crazy, it sounds like.
Yeah, and everybody's different. And you just, even your body, like if I could overshare for a second, because I know we're coming close on time. Unless, am I cutting you off?
No,
I don't want, this is about you. But now that you got me going, I remember in the beginning, my wife, when she first had Amelia, who's now my daughter, who's 5 years old, she had a really hard time with nursing, and she felt like such a failure.
I hear
because she was like,
so
I got
hard.
one job. Well, some women take to it like super easy, and my wife didn't for whatever reason, or the baby, and it just took a lot of work, and she had to seek the advice of other people and even experts at the hospital, and that was like really tough. But like in hindsight, even that little thing right there, when she got good at it, it was like such a cool, dope, rewarding thing, which to a mom where it comes easy to it, it's nothing, right? She's like, whatever. And then she just kind of started going and just that kind of stuff. And I see, even today, even 5 years later, I see reflections in my wife's personality as a wife and as a mother and as a person even that are a result of going through that kind of stuff, man.
Some of the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
You're going to do that. You're just going to be so much better.
It's formative.
You know, give yourself permission to be a train wreck. That's cool. If you're not, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. Go for it.
I already am.
Let your guard down. Be a mess. You are a mess.
I already am. So you're going to hear plenty of that on the coming podcasts and shows as I figure all of this out. And I'm grateful that you're along for the ride with us.
Yeah. You know what you should do?
What?
You should predict now, because you don't know, boy or girl.
Okay.
And you should predict, this would be a good note to go out, how much they're going to weigh.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I feel like it's a boy.
Okay.
But that could be because I have all brothers and I've never really been around a baby girl. But I want a baby girl. I'll love a baby boy just the same, obviously. Grateful either way. So I'm thinking it's going to be a boy. I'm hoping he's not going to weigh very much. My husband was like 10 pounds and his brother was like 12. So
what is your heart? 12 pounds.
I know they had to do a C-section.
You should see the look of our producer. He's behind the scenes right now.
That's
she said
like
12
a bowling
pounds.
ball. I can't even bowl with those bowling balls. They're too heavy. I have to use an 8-pounder.
12 lbs.
So I'm going to go 8 pounds, 9 ounces.
I was 8 pounds, 9 ounces.
Nuh-uh.
I was.
I just came up with that right now.
Yeah, 8 pounds.
That's my
I
prediction.
just know that because your mother that's such a big figure. Your mother repeats
Right?
that forever.
Yeah, I know. I was a little lighter, but I'm guessing that 8, 9. We'll see what happens.
I don't think that's indicative of how big they'll be in life, though. Like my second daughter was 9 pounds and 10 ounces.
Oh,
Emma,
she's so
and
tiny.
she's just average now. She's just a regular kid.
So it doesn't mean anything, but it does depend how the labor goes.
So boy, right? Let's take this right here. A year from now, we can pull this clip. She's predicting a boy that is 8 pounds, 9 ounces. That's it.
Let's see.